Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives from artists, producers, engineers, and other individuals in the music industry. In each episode, we touch on not only what has helped the person succeed, but we also touch on what has shaped them into the person that they are today. I hope you're able to gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you on your own journey to success as well. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to episode 229 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we had a returning guest from way back on episode 6, which was in the summer of 2020. Mochii rejoined the show. It's been a while since we connected. I've been keeping in touch with him on social media. We really haven't had a ton of discussions until today, but it was great to catch up with him, see what he's been up to. On that first episode, if you remember that, we talked about his journey into engineering, and Mochii since then has had a plethora of new clients, both as an engineer and as an artist as well. He talked about, being able to have his own studio now and being able to create his own time, and have people come through the studio to write and record, how important that's been to him, being able to be an engineer and do that, but also being able to be an artist and do that as well. He talked about a couple of his singles, One of Those Days and Summer Baby, both of which dropped in 2024. He discussed, the process of being able to put those two out. He also discussed working on 2 different EPs that he plans to drop before the end of the year, as well as what you can expect from his next album that should be coming out probably next year or the year after. And he also has several shows planned coming up. I think one he said was in Chicago, and I think a few more in the Houston area as well. Overall, I just loved being able to catch up with Mochii this week and to really just be able to see him elevate since the last time we talked, and just his goals for moving forward. And you can definitely tell how grateful he is to still be doing it, and still be growing and learning new things every day. So without further ado, let's get into this one. All right, so welcome everyone to episode 229 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we have another part 2 episode, someone that was actually on episode 6 way back when, in 2020. This guy's a great artist. I love how he's still doing his thing. He's a mix engineer, does all kinds of cool things, and it's going to be great to catch up with him today. Everybody, please welcome Mochii back to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm glad to be back. I'm actually excited you asked me to be back because it's like you said, it's been a minute since we chopped it up.
For sure, man. And thanks for wanting to come back on the show. And like I said, it's been a while, and we've kept in touch on Instagram and just kind of saw what one another was doing, I think, just through social media. But give, kind of an update for the fans that might not have heard that episode, or, it's been so long since they've heard it. They might not know you and what you do. So just kind of give a brief reintroduction for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Mochii. I'm an artist, an engineer, a producer, just basically a musical extraordinaire. I do it all. I'm Indiana, and that's all I mean. That's all I got.
Yeah. I remember I think the first time we talked, you were in Houston at the time because you were working on, being an engineer and working in different studios and things like that. And what I like to ask the guest on the part 2 episode to start out with is, what do you think has been the biggest change you've had to either go through or kind of overcome over the last 4 years since we first talked? Could be as an artist or in life in general.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the biggest one being just business in general, the artistry thing, so a lot of it's creativity and expressing and just having fun. But one thing I've come to realize is that business is a big part as far as I do want to I do this full time, but in order full time you kind of have to your business and just make the funds to be able to do this because nobody just gonna pay you to do this. You gotta kind of pave that way yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest thing since last time that I've been dealing with.
Yeah. And out of the 3 different lanes, because like you said, you're an artist, you mix, and you produce as well. Has there been one that you've tried to focus on more than the other ones, or you're just trying to kind of keep a good balance of all 3 and just
Mhm.
see like, what opportunity will call at the right time, and you just kind of go, as it's presented to you.
Yeah, so I kind of got a pretty good balance of all three. Um, like, dropping music and making content. Uh, my artistry. I'm also doing the same thing for my engineering side. Like as far as I have a website now for my studio. I actually have my own studio now that I sent my master out of as well. So like, and it all coincides. Like it all like goes together because as an engineer, people come to me to, make their music sound better.
Hmm.
But these artists also ask me for beats, or ask me for, features and stuff like that. So it all like, even though I'm engineering them, I'm also like filling those other hats as well while, working with them.
Yeah. And you said you have your own studio now, so congratulations on that, first of all, because that's incredible, man. And
Hey,
definitely proud of you on that one. And how has that kind of helped to be able to have more consistent clientele? Because I feel like when you have your own space, it's almost easier to be able to tell people like, hey, I got my own space. You can come here. You can write, record, do pretty much
mhm.
everything with me here, instead of just always having to email things or you have to travel to them and vice versa. I mean, how has that been like beneficial to you to be able to have your own space to work out of?
Just free reign. Cause like if I want to, the happy place. I call my studio the happy place. Um, free reign 24 hours, 7 days a
Yeah,
week. Like I have access, like full access all day, every day. So like it have those artists that want to do an early morning session. So I could like, all right, yeah, for sure. Like, come on, like
yeah,
let's get to it.
yeah.
So just having like that free reign to be able to have the equipment and the space to just make my music and also like work with artists as well.
Yeah. And it's got to be
And I
great. Yeah. It's got to be great being able to do that now, especially after years of doing kind of what we talked about earlier, which is just going to other places or working on other people's time. So to be able to work on your own time has to
mhm,
be a super awesome feeling after putting in the work like that.
mhm.
And for you, even when you don't have anyone in the studio with you, if it's just you by yourself, what are like the current hours that you're in there working on your own material? Is it more of the morning, or are you still doing like late night sessions? Like, what does that look like currently for you?
Honestly, it's kind of like all over the place. So like wherever I find like spots of time that I can have for
Hmm.
creativity, because I, I engineer, this that's my bread and butter of what I do, but I also do like stage production for shows. So when artists come and they want to perform at like 713 or BMC or one of those venues, like I help set up their stage for their performances. So like I mean whether it's like I'm gonna be working all night, so I would get some creative stuff done during the day or in the morning time, or if I know that I got some morning sessions and evening gig, then I'll make time at night to kind of like get my creative juices going.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like all over the place.
Yeah, you kind of find ways to make it work. You know what I mean? No matter
Yeah,
what. Yeah, and I
there's
feel
no
like
particular there's no particular set schedule that I have.
yeah, exactly. That's kind of I feel like every artist can relate to that in some type of way too, because it's just like we got so much other things going on in our lives as well that we kind of got to balance with like the creative side too. So you kind
Hmm.
of just like you find time and you make time where you can to be able to do those things. And that also leads me into another good question, which is how are you balancing, everything else you got going in life with the creative stuff? And do you feel like there's been any challenges lately in that regard? Or do you feel like you've been able to balance it pretty well? Just your, everything else you're doing in life mixed with all this other stuff too.
Yeah, so now it's getting easy. Like when I first started, it was pretty hard to like kind of get a thing going
Hmm.
because of, like it was just so much going on, and I had a calendar, but I like every now and again I would write in the calendar like, oh, I got this to do. I got a session at this time. But sometimes like I wouldn't put it in the calendar and I have something planned, but I'm like, oh dang, I gotta go to the studio because I got this session.
Yeah.
But just finding actually standing to it with my calendar, making sure like like I do have a set time on my website to where I offer like sessions, and it's from noon to midnight. But I do like clients do have the if they want a morning session.
Mm.
And book a morning session, it would just have to they would have to let me know like well in advance so I can plan around, because I go to the gym every morning. Like that's like I gotta go to the gym. But if it's a client that like really want to get in at a certain time, like if they got somebody that's about to fly out like the next day, but they need an early session before they fly out, then I make the next session like, okay, yeah, I could do this session and I could just go to the gym right after the session,
Yeah.
you know, and if I have anything else going on. But like locking in on the calendar and making sure like every slot of time that I have, I just make sure, okay, at this time I'm doing this, at this time I'm doing this, to kind of keep me aligned, so I can, you know, stay on track. And
Yeah.
I usually every night I would plan the next day. As you know, so by the time I wake up, I'm not fumbling trying to figure out, oh dang, what I got to do or what's going on. I already know, so I just have to, you know, go about my day.
Yeah, exactly. I can definitely relate to that too as well. Just being able to get organized the past couple of years, because I think the more you take on too, the more it's important to get organized and actually stay organized and have like a plan and a little bit of a structure. And I think a lot of people kind of get scared at that because they look at structure as like rules and like they're just in the box, but it's like that structure will allow for the freedom to do other things. That's what I think people don't understand. But the more that you have and the more like tasks that you have to do in the day, you know, it's going to be super vital to do that planning. So I'm glad to hear that that's kind of a similar journey for you, and that's kind of what your experience has been as well. And it's like I said, man, it's impressive that you're doing all that stuff and finding a ways to still live life and you know, keep a healthy lifestyle too, which I think is super awesome. And as far as, you know, your own music and what you're doing, you dropped a couple singles this year. Summer Baby, I believe, was the first one. Or no, I think that was the second one.
That was the second one, yeah.
Yeah, so second one, and One of Those Days, I believe, was the other one that you dropped this year. So give us the breakdown on those two tracks. Those are your two solo releases for 2024. You know, what was it like creating those, and why do you choose to put those out now, you know, in this year?
So One of Those Days, that was the first one that I dropped. That was a song that I made in 2019 with a guy that's on the hook. That's one of my best friends from back home in Louisiana. And we were just messing around, you know, at my mom's crib in the closet. I had set up the studio in the closet and recorded it. And I you know, at the time he wrote it, he was going through something. That's what he put out on the track. And then 2 years, I think it was like 2 or 3 years later, I put a verse on it. Like I randomly found the song because I completely forgot about it, and I randomly found it, and I was like, "Oh, let me go ahead and put a verse on it."
Yeah.
And it, like crazy at the time, like when I found it, I was going through something too. So it was kind of like perfect that, you know, that I found that song at the moment, you know, I was living, because it made it easier for me to write and like, you know, get that feeling off, because I was actually having one of those days at the same time too.
Yeah.
And Summer Baby, that was just a fun track. At first I wasn't even going to release Summer Baby. I was just in the studio, just like, I don't know, just, you know, messing around and stuff. But then it actually, you know, came out to be this like great track, and I just fell in love with it. And then it was summertime, so I was like, oh, let me just go ahead and drop this for the summer, even though like I dropped it at the end of the summer. Like it's like, I think, yeah, summer ended yesterday, so it's fall now. So like, you know, I was like, man, let me get this song off, because I didn't really have anything big planned for it. I just wanted to drop it and, you know, give it out to the world.
Yeah. Hey there, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know about a couple different ways that you can support the podcast. One of the ways is by clicking that support the podcast button within your streaming platform. That is if you want to be a monthly supporter of the show. You can contribute either 99 cents, $5, or $10 a month. So that's the first way, and that's the more traditional way that we've had now for the last couple years. The other method that we actually just recently introduced is from our good friends over at Ko-fi. Ko-fi is a virtual tip jar. We have set our limit to a minimum of $10, but you can go make one-time, one-off donations. So if you visit ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast, you'll be able to donate. And all these different forms of donation go towards getting new guests every single week, getting potential sponsors on board to do giveaways, and overall just making the show better for you guys. So if you want to do that Ko-fi link, it's ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Otherwise, again, look for that support the podcast button in your streaming platform if you'd like to be a monthly supporter. And I just want to say thank you guys for your contributions. And without further ado, let's get back into the episode. The cool thing for that though is that next summer, people will be listening to it then too. So
yeah, exactly. And it's something that's I feel like that's one of those tracks. Like every time summer comes, people will bring it up. Like summer baby.
Yeah.
Every year you have a summer. You know.
And it's got that real chill production too. It makes you think of that time of year, honestly. So yeah, I definitely love it.
They made the beat with his thing on it. I forgot his name. It was a YouTube beat that I had bought. And yeah, he did his thing on
Yeah, for sure. And with one of those days as well, like that's kind of crazy because it was an idea that was kind of just there. And then, right place, right time, you end up finding that idea and adding to it and making it like a full thing and then putting it out. And I think that goes to show that, we should always be creating and thinking of new ideas. And even if we sit on those for a while, as long as we don't delete them entirely, they could become something, you know what I mean? They could become something like new, and you kind of like, it's like a breath of fresh air into the idea, and then it becomes something greater. So that's awesome, man. And congrats on both those. Cause like I said, I was a big fan of both of them. And that does lead me to ask, do you have like another album on the horizon or a bigger project that you want to do maybe in 2025 or anything that you have lined up that, people should be on the lookout for?
Oh yeah. So I got music. I got a lot of music that's made, that's recorded, mixed, that I just really just been sitting on. I do these songs. I have two EPs that's already, written, recorded, mixed, and mastered that I want to drop. I'm just getting like the final touches on the video concepts and like how I actually want, this world for these two EPs to look like. Because I like to, whenever I drop something, I like to like let's not be on Earth right now. Let's go into Mochii's world, and I want to get that down before I release it. But expecting two EPs coming out before the end of the year. Next year, my plan is to work on an album. I have a couple of songs that are like album concepts. I just want to like kind of sit with it a little bit to make sure this is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they expecting like a lot of music coming out within.
Yeah, awesome. For sure, man. And I think 2 EPs, that'll tide people over for a while too before the album, so it'll give them something to look forward to, when the album drops too. So yeah, I'll definitely be listening to those as well. And are there any collaborators that you're working with currently, or maybe even people that you're mixing for that you want to shout out today on the show?
Shoot, actually, yeah, I want to shout out my partners from the tribe. My homie Jomai and my homie Chuck. Jomai, producer, he a rapper. We got songs that's in the vault that we planning on dropping in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. One of the clients that I work with, my partner Shondell from Chicago, he a singer, phenomenal singer. I'm talking like Jamie Foxx level, like John Legend singing. Me and him got a song that we did, dropping, and we're gonna perform it actually in Chicago, October 4th. I have a show coming up. I had got booked out there, and I got a song that I just did with her as well that's gonna be dropping pretty soon. So like, uh, on the lookout for Mochii songs and Mochii features.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to them, the people that I did those tracks with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And congrats on the show as well. Because that was actually going to be probably my next question was, do you have shows or a tour or anything like live event wise that's planned, or something like videos or visuals that you're planning for these next projects as well? Anything that comes to mind?
Oh yeah, so the show on October 4th I have in Chicago. I have another show here in Houston, uh, October 27th, uh, September 29th. But I have some things I got to take care of, so I had to postpone it. But October 27th they'll be out here in Houston. I, it's all I'm working on all visuals for the EP, so like be on the lookout for that. And I'm also my YouTube channel, so like it's gonna be. My thing is, I don't really have something that I want to do. So it's like my niche now is being nicheless. So I don't know what exactly you want to get on this YouTube channel. Well, I do know, but it's not just going to be one thing. Like you're going to get, some music. You're going to get some fitness. You're going to get some like higher level thinking type of things. And it's just going to be a whole bunch of different stuff that I just do because I don't just do one thing.
Yeah.
So like you just going and just doing whatever.
Yeah. I love that, honestly. I'll have to subscribe because I've been building my channel up now the last couple of years, or really the last year. And I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm kind of just testing things out to see like what works or what feels good to me, even creating it, and then just just have fun with it. And I think that's cool. That's like the coolest part about this stuff is the possibilities are endless. You know what I mean? And if we're just being our authentic selves on there, you're gonna attract the right people as well, and just meet so many cool people. So yeah, man, you'll have to let me know what your channel is because I'm gonna definitely subscribe and keep up to date with what you're gonna be doing over there for sure. So
it's
yeah.
Mochii.
Okay, I was gonna say I'll probably find it for sure. So yeah, that's exciting though, man. So congrats on that as well. And even outside of music, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about balancing real life and just what everything else you got going on in life. What do you think you've been doing recently to kind of like reset, recharge? You said working out was a big thing, so I assume that is one thing. Is there anything else that you've been doing on the day to day to just kind of clear your mind and come back? So when you come back to creating, you're kind of re-energized and ready to go.
So yeah, the gym is like number one. I've been to the gym consistently for the past 9 months. Started in January with one of my homies. We just haven't stopped in. It's been a real help with being on point with every other aspect of my life because just the waking up, starting the day off in the gym, like the first thing I do in the morning is a done. Like, okay, I done got this work in. Like, let's continue to be on this streak of of accomplishment throughout this day. But I also read. I'm actually in this book club called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. That's been helping me a lot just with balancing my creativity and like nourishing artist side because sometimes you like artists think it gets to a point where like once like gets involved to where it's like it pays my bills, so it kind of start to feel like a job at times, and it's like I don't want it to be like that. So like take like reading this book has been teaching me to like take those breaks, nourish your creative self as far as like taking yourself on an artist date, doing something that I haven't done. Like I went skating the other day. I haven't skated in so long. It was just a real like I thing like knowing that I used to skate heavily as a kid, like roller skates. Just doing that again, it was just like I don't know. It was a great experience. But things like that have been keeping me balanced, that keeping me, moving and keeping me elevating. Um, and yeah, that's really it. Reading, working out, watching how I eat, watching what I put in my body, watching what I consume.
Mm.
That's just things that I've been doing on a daily basis to keep me, grounded.
Yeah, man. I think everybody can take note of that and kind of apply that to their own journeys as well.
Mhm.
And I'm always looking for book recommendations, so I'm gonna have to look into that one. That definitely
Yeah,
sounds like a
it's a pretty good book.
yeah, sounds like a good
It's a pretty
read
good.
for sure. And I like what you said about kind of just being able to switch it up, really just like remind yourself why you do what you do in general. Sometimes you got to just go have fun with things again and kind of just like reinvent what you're doing. And then it gives you a whole new path to be like, oh yeah, now I know like why I started this in the first place. Because like you said, if you're doing it over and over again, and then you're doing it as a career, it's like you got to always give yourself the reminder of like, why am I doing this to begin with? And so I think
Mhm.
that's kind of like what that means to you as well, and why that's so important. So that's awesome, man. And thank you for sharing that. Because like I said, I think a lot of people will be able to apply that in their own ways as well. And by the time this episode drops, it's going to be toward the end of the year. So I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you, let's just say 2024 as a whole year. What do you think you're most grateful for this year that you feel has kind of, you know, maybe the theme of the year or just something that has meant a lot to you that you've been able to achieve or just, have involved in your life this year?
Man, honestly, the people in my life, I'm real grateful for the people that've been in my life.
Mm,
As a way, because she get hard sometimes, like that. But that's part of life.
yeah.
That's the name of the game. Like you got to go through it to get to it.
Mm,
But having those people to always remind me that I got this, like I could keep moving forward, whatever tribulation now, that I'm going through, like can get through it. I have the ability to get through, just believing in me and giving me nothing but love, nothing but encouragement, nothing but grace and positivity. Um, that's what I'm grateful for. Just the people that's been around.
yeah. That support system is always crucial
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
it gets hard, man. Doing this like music shit, this shit is not for the birds. Like
Mm,
this is like I see artists struggling all the time. Like there's people that come in that's like, man, I'm going through this, and that. And I'm trying to like do this artist thing, but it's just not paying. And they gotta pay for studio time, and
mm,
it's like, damn, I feel you, but like, yeah, it gets hard. But like, if this what you really want, you know, you gotta put in that work. And I try to be that for other people too. Like, cause I have so many people that's encouraging for me. I try to like give that back
yeah.
to other people.
Yeah.
Cause man, like, so people don't realize like they have control. Um, whatever it is, whatever life they want to live, they
Mm,
can do anything. Um, and yeah, I'm just grateful to have people like that in my life for me to be able to nourish me to be able to be that for other people as well.
yeah. And that's all you can do is just pass it down to the next generation and just hope that that cycle continues. That's really
Mm-hmm.
the best thing to do, man. So, congrats on that as well. And do you have any final words of wisdom before we get out of here?
Keep God in your life. Keep God in your life, and you're gonna be all right because uh, you know God is abundance. So like we whatever we ask for, we shall receive because this world is of abundance.
Hmm.
So yeah, keep God in your life.
Yeah, man. Love that. Well, Mochii, I gotta say, man, thanks again for wanting to come back on. And I'm just happy to see you're still doing your thing and doing it at a high level. And congrats on everything that you've been able to do, even in the past few years, man. It's great to see you grow and just continue to do great things. And I know we're gonna stay in touch. And if you ever want to come back, man, for a part 3 or something, let me know. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I've been likewise, bro. Like congratulations to you and your endeavors, bro. Like like you said, but my last time, our last time doing this, it was 2020, 4 years ago, bro. So, and you're still doing it. You're still locked in, and I love to see it, bro. Because I mean, shit, that's what you want to do, so you pursuing that,
Yeah.
and that's really all that matters, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you, and I know we're just going to keep inspiring one another. I'm sure of it. Thanks, everyone, for listening today. That was episode 229. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit that support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. Feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. And be sure to tune in on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Time to twitch.tv/AnthonyChurch24 for more exclusive in-depth content. But until next week, we'll see you then, and thanks for listening.